The main idea you present seems to be that there are certain small details in evolution that haven't been proven, yet we accept it as fact just because it's the best explanation. Then you try to say that is how it is with miracles too. That if you consider miracles to be an argument of ignorance of sorts because you can have an infinite number of explanations, that the same is true of evolution. So you conclude that since evolution is accepted because of that argument, miracles must be as well. However, I object to the premise about evolution for starters. The theory was constructed from the evidence. It wasn't presupposed and then evidence gathered to try and prove it. It's also more than just a best explanation. There is enough evidence to prove it even if there is no data on certain predictions. So it's a false comparison to equate it with miracles. Miracles have not been proven in other ways like evolution, and they are premised on presupposed concepts as well. Then you go on to conclude that the best explanation is that Jesus was right and the disciples were telling the truth. This isn't a question of best explanations. The problem is the earliest historical reference we get about Jesus are from Josephus in Antiquities of the Jews, which was written in 93 CE. This book also used the Hebrew Bible as a historical source, which makes it even more questionable. So you have a lot of second and third hand information written down many years later. That is very unconvincing. The next earliest is Tacitus, who was born in 56 CE. The story is that he used official Roman sources when he made his writings in the early 2nd century. Sources that were later conveniently lost. There is no way to know if that is the case or if he just wrote what he was told by the people making the claims. This is also very poor evidence. So we have no reason to think these stories about Jesus are accurate in any way. Nobody nowadays is going to accept something passed on by word of mouth for many years before it was written down. That would require you to believe in any and all urban legends until you can prove them false, which is a completely backwards way to do things. Then, of course, the idea of Jesus is premised on a God for which there is no evidence. There has never been a logical proof or any empirical evidence provided for the existence of God. So there is no way to even know that concept. It is a presupposed idea being argued after the fact. There is no way to distinguish it from a fictional story other than the source of the fiction saying their story is fiction. So once again, you are unable to get away from the epistemological problem of having no way to know of the God concept other than someone making it up. It is also clearly presupposition, as all apologetics are. Then you try to obfuscate the argument from ignorance at the root by making a false comparison to scientific theories, even though it's obvious the premise of this has nothing to do with the acceptance of the theory of evolution, not to mention evolution being concluded after gathering evidence, while miracles are presupposed with various excuses made for them afterwards. So this has the typical failings of apologetics with the addition of a false comparison based on a faulty premise.